Hey, Ed Diaz here at Craft Music, and today we're going to take a look at the Roland Juno-D. All right, let's get started. So in front of me, I have the Roland Juno-D6, which is a 61-note synth action. Also, we have available a Juno-D7, which is a 76, which is also synth action. And behind me, I have a Juno-D8, which is an 88-key progressive hammer action. Nice weighted feel to it. Also, you see behind me a Roland Juno-X, which we're going to talk about in a future video. So let's start off by looking at the top of the Roland Juno-D. We're going to start off with a color screen, which we can also access just by going up and down in the cursors right in here. If we go to the left side, we have the keyboard section, the sound modify knob, also a phrase pad. So let's go ahead and start digging into each one of these sections. The Juno-D is organized in scenes just like the Roland Phantom. So we can have up to 1 or up to 7 tones layered and split simultaneously per scene. Also, the 8th part is designated for rhythm. So let's take a look at this side of the keyboard, and we're going to learn about single, split, and dual. So if I wanted to have just a single sound playing within this scene, I'll just select single, and I can go ahead and go through different sounds. Just cursor down, and I can try different sounds this way. Let's take a listen to piano. Now, if we want to go ahead and create a dual, and that's when we layer 2 sounds together, it's very easy. I'll just go ahead and press the dual button. And notice right away, the Juno-D puts the one part on top, and it puts the second sound, the lower, just below it. So I'm going to stick with this grand piano that we're using. I'm going to go ahead and go down, and I can choose strings, which is great, but if I wanted to, I can easily choose another tone. So now all I have to do is I can adjust my levels of the upper and the lower just by using the upper and the lower sliders. So I'm going to bring up my piano right here. And then now, to taste, I'm going to bring up my lower. So you can see very easily I can go ahead and customize a dual sound within my scene, and if I wanted to, I can easily save it. Now what about splitting the keyboard? Which means I want to put a sound on this side of the key bed and another sound on this side. Very easy. I'm just going to press the split button, and as you can see on the screen, I have the upper highlighted, and if I want to, I can cursor down to the lower. So I'm going to go ahead and the lower, rather than a string, I'm going to choose a bass. And if I didn't want that particular bass, I can press the enter button, and I can just cursor over and choose an acoustic bass. Let's give it a listen now. Now, what if I didn't want that split point where it is? I want to move it around. Very easy to do. Just press and hold the split button, and I can move it wherever I want. So if I want it a little bit lower, maybe down here, I can have it here. Now let's talk about another mode called super layer. I like super layer, and I like to use it a lot with different leads and other things like that. So I'm going to go to my lead section. Now, just as a reminder, I don't think we've covered it yet, but the Juno-D has over 3,800 sounds available inside. So there's plenty of tones to work with. So I just chose a synth sound in here, which sounds great on its own. So now let's go ahead and choose super layer. What this allows me to do is automatically stack up to 7 layers and also adjust the detuning of that particular tone I'm using. So let's hear it in single. Now with super layer. So this is a great function you can use if you just really want to punch through the mix, or it's your time to shine and take a solo. Now the next section we're going to cover is the sound modify knobs. You see on top of the keyboard it says cutoff, resonance, attack, and release. And this is really great if you want to go ahead and tweak your synth sounds on the fly. So let's say I take this particular sound and I want to adjust the cutoff in a live setting, maybe a little bit of sweep. I can just go ahead and play the sound. And as you can see very quickly, I can adjust those parameters of the synth live. Now another great function of the sound modify knobs is I can program them to any other CCs that are available inside the Juno-D. And those reprogrammed CCs assignments are saved to the scene. So make sure you try that. Within the Juno-D, we have a sequencer. It's a 64-step sequencer that can record all 8 parts of the Juno-D. So it's perfect for laying down quick ideas and having just a good time playing. Let's go ahead and create a quick sequence now. So for sequencing, there are 2 types of recording we can do. We can do real-time recording, which I'll do, but we can also do step recording. I'll just press and hold Shift and hit record, and it goes to step recording. So this is very similar to our TR-8S, all our different TR-808 type of step recording. So if you're familiar with that, you already know how to do this. So I'm going to go ahead and choose maybe some drums. And just like in the TR step recorders, I just press it and I can go ahead and program very quickly what I want to do. So let's make a quick beat using the TR step style recorder. Pretty cool. Let's add a little bit more. Let's add some hi-hat. Very quick. Great. Now let's add a snare. Put it on the 5. As you can see, we just created a TR step record that quickly. So now let's go ahead and do the real-time recording side. So what I've done in this particular example is I've actually layered an electric piano and a voice and a bass, and I'm using the chord memory right there, which lets me have different progressions in different keys, and I have it assigned to my lower portion of the keyboard. So very quick, I can go ahead and play through a progression, and I chose a minor one at this time, and now I'm going to record that progression. So I'll just press record. It is ready to go, and I'll press play. So as you can see, very quickly I recorded a nice 64-step sequence that you can use and have a great time with. And now the next section of the phrase pad is the rhythm. Within this rhythm pattern section, we have different types of rhythms that we can choose. And the great thing is we can use our pads to bring in intro, verses, bridge, outros, chorus. So I can come into here. And let's go out. And that quickly I can use the rhythm pattern. Now let's go to the audio section of the phrase pad. I'll select audio. Now what this allows me to do is to take audio files and put them on a USB thumb drive. I can create folders for up to 8 audio files, and I can play them back by using the pads. Let's go ahead and insert this now and give it a listen. Now, as you can see, I have 4 songs that I can put on here. Now, the song lengths can be as long as the USB thumb drive that you have chosen. So if you have room to put in more songs, longer songs, you can do that here. Now, watch this. I'm going to press play, And I'm not really hearing much because I haven't turned up the slider of the phrase pad. So what this allows me to do is I have complete control of the song volume that's coming from the phrase pad, from the USB thumb drive, right here in the phrase pad slider. So I can adjust my keyboard upper and lower, my phrase pad, and a mic slider too, which we'll get to in a second. Now let's check out the last function of the phrase pad section, and that is mute. So if I have a sequence playing and I'll push sequence on, and I already have one loaded in here, I can go ahead and press play, and then I can bring in and out different parts just by pressing mute. So I press the mute section, little breakdown there, and then if I want to, let's bring them back in. 1, 2. So as you can see, the mute can be very helpful for go ahead and making a more dynamic performance. Now let's check out the I/O of the Juno-D. So on the Juno-Ds, of course, we have a headphone jack. We also have 1/4-inch balanced outputs, an 1/8-inch external input. You'll notice on the mic, we have a combi mic jack in the back, so you can use XLR or a 1/4-inch mic cable if you need to. The mic input does not supply phantom power, but you can use any dynamic microphone of your choice. Of course, we have 5-pin MIDI in and out. We have 2 pedal ports, a control and a hold. We also have 2 USB ports. One is USB-A for memory. The USB computer port is USB-C, which is USB class compliant, which means no drivers. You just plug in the Juno-D to your computer and it's set to go, audio and MIDI. Now here's another great function of the USB-C of the Juno-D. I can go ahead and take a power bank, a USB-C power bank, and I'm using a V-mount battery here, go USB-C out of here, plug it into the USB-C computer port, and now I'll unplug the DC port of the Juno-D, and it will still be powered. The USB-C power bank will power the Juno-D, so you don't have to worry about grabbing batteries on the go. So let's talk about the Roland Juno-D's sound engine. The Roland Juno-D is based off the Zencore sound engine. So what that means is you have over 3,800 sounds available to you. This also means the Juno-D sounds, the tones, are compatible with the Phantom Zencore sound engine, the Axe Edge sound engine, any Roland compatible synthesizer that has the Zencore sound engine. You can mix and match, import and export tones. Another great thing about having the Zencore sound engine is that we can have scene remain, which means if I hold down a chord in one scene and I switch over to the other one, I'm not going to hear any kind of interruption in my sound. So I'm going to go ahead and play a piano part, and then we're going to switch over to a string part. So check this out. Maybe I'll go the other way just so you can hear it again. So live switching so we don't have any interruption in sound. So just a quick recap. From the previous version of Juno, we now have double the polyphony. The previous one was 128 and now we're 256 notes of polyphony. With the Zencore sound engine, you can easily expand the Roland Juno-D. We just go to Roland Cloud, select Juno-D from the hardware section, and as you can see, we can go ahead and choose from various wave expansions, the EXZs, and also various sound packs. There are multiples to choose from. Now, once you find a sound pack that you would like to purchase and download, you just click on it, download it to a USB thumb drive from your computer, and then take that thumb drive and insert it inside the Juno-D and install that sound pack. It's that easy. So I mentioned the mic input, which you can use with your regular vocals if you want to sing along in a one-man band style, but you can also use it for the onboard vocoder. Let's give it a listen now. So we just did the vocoder just single, but you can also layer that vocoder with another sound. In this example, I'm going to layer it with a bass. Let's give it a listen. Now I want to show you how easy it is to incorporate the Juno-D into your recording environment. What I've done here is I've taken the USB-C cable and plugged it into my USB-C computer port and taken the other end of that cable and plugged it into my MacBook. So I've opened up a recording software here, and I've set up a MIDI channel so I can record MIDI, and I've also set up an audio channel. Now what about drivers? Well, I didn't need drivers because the Juno-D is USB class compliant. So I'm able to pretty much plug in and go. And so let's make sure that I'm ready. I'm going to go ahead and play. You see my MIDI on the left side and you see my audio on the right side. I already have a sequence that I've prepared, just a little sequence, and let's go ahead and press record. So as you can see, it's very easy to record with the Roland Juno-D. So that's the Roland Juno-D. Make sure and check out the bundles at Craft Music for some great deals. Once again, my name is Ed Diaz, and thank you for watching.